What's going on, everybody? My name is Trekatron, and today we're back in Dissolving. Yeah, Dissolving. So, the last time around, we didn't actually figure out, or there was no hints onto what we should do to get to the other routes. But today, I actually found out that, or just by looking at this main menu, we have a thing called Hunter here. I don't know what it does, so we're not going to click on it yet. We're going to click on it maybe later on. I'm not even going to try it even off screen, but we'll find out what it is eventually. But for today, we'll try to start a new game, and then we'll try where it takes us, you know? I want to see whether we can find I don't know how to say it. The point of entry for the other routes, you know? Unlike in Missed Messages, immediately when you start a new game after you finished it, it will actually tell you some new stuff, but here I don't think that's gonna happen because as you can see, we're immediately put back into the game, and it doesn't seem like they added something new. So we'll go skip ahead. I think it's just the regular thing that we already saw before. So really nothing here. By the way, since this is a Ren'Py game, Ren'Py is a visual novel engine. You can press Control if you already finished that scene before. Control will help you skip forward. So we're gonna do that now, a bit by bit, so we can actually see what's happening here. Yeah, but it doesn't seem like there's anything here. Yeah, there's probably nothing here. Was there a choice here? I forgot. I don't want to take it, but I could hide somewhere, but that's risky, guys. Let's take this. It's just cash after all. Okay, yeah. So this one again. Okay. Now, one thing about last time is it told us something about not entering the computer or anything like that. It just, you know, we just scrolled through the game without trying to interact with anything here. I don't see anything interactable though. But I saw, okay, I might have cheated a bit. It said that your cursor won't change, but there are some things here that you can click. So I'm trying to click around on the objects. And yeah. So I'm clicking around and it's opening stuff again in the background. Yeah, we got that ridiculously small, the same pages that we were opening before. Oops, what happened? I clicked on the computer screen because, you know, it was flashing different images, you know, maybe it has something to do with that. But it closed our game down. Oh, it opened Hunter. Okay, so here's Hunter. Let me start it up real quick here. I'm gonna cut it here, and you will see this later on. Alright, we're here. So this is where we start off. This is Hunter now. It opened up a new program. It closed the Dissolving one, and it opened up this Hunter. So I guess this is where you will get once you click that Hunter button. It's great that we didn't click it, and we're here. Anyway, we'll try this out then. I was always into things that are different. Not exactly weird, but different. Outside of common understanding, outside of the norm. That's just like me. This yearning led me through my life. If what's happening to me now can be even called life. Because of my interests, I became an anthropologist. Because of it, I found my wife. And it stayed with me even after things fell apart. Everything was fine at first. I studied culture and psychology of certain people from medieval times. The subjects I chose were so specific that very few people had investigated them. Yet they were peculiar enough to gain attention. I was rather good at presenting myself and my research, so funding wasn't a problem. I gave lectures at a university and some popular science events, and worked part-time at a private school. I soon found myself having a lot of contacts in university circles and among young intellectuals. What? Did I say intellectuals? Yeah, intellectuals. And if you're wondering how I went back, if you're playing a Ren'Py game, if you just press page up, that would return you back to the previous sentence or words that were in the screen. But in some Ren'Py games, it is disabled, so... I married an avid artist specializing in book illustrations who was into goth metal. What? Avant-garde and not committing to anything or anyone. When she was in the mood, she even joined my ventures into the depths of belief of people long gone. I even started thinking of a career in writing, but it can't be that good, right? I wasn't going anywhere in particular, just a car accident when I was driving back from a grocery store. The road was stupid slippery, I guess. Luckily, my wife was at home and nobody got hurt except for me. My body was paralyzed almost entirely. I could move only my left hand and my head. It was a nightmare. I couldn't live the way I used to. The simple act of going from one place to another became more difficult. What's worse, my wife refused to let me go and was taking care of me. I found it cute, considering her usual traits, but I was frustrated to see her wasting her life because of me. I stopped visiting friends and parties and almost stopped giving lectures. Even doing my research became difficult. Of course, you're paralyzed from the head down. You can only move your left hand and your head. That will give you almost nothing. Like with the left hand, if you're right-handed, that would mean you're using your weak hand to do stuff. Yeah, you should probably train your weak hand right now, so if time comes, you know what to do. I mean, you can use it properly. I was thinking about ending it all, but my family was rather religious, so I couldn't. I just couldn't. Maybe it's a mere excuse for my cowardice. Either way, I needed something to occupy my time, to distract me. My wife hid all the alcohol, never mind the drugs. I tried reading books and watching movies, but it wasn't enough. The thoughts were still here, haunting me, always there, whispering in my ear. That sounds familiar, so familiar. I pressed on to, though. What else could I do? Then one day, after dozens, the music changed. I don't wanna hear it. It sounds metal. After dozens of little bleak flicks with cut and paste stories, I finally watched a movie that I really liked. I can't remember its name now, but back then I was in awe. I went to OMDB, that's IMDb, I guess, for movie sites, to find some info on it, and found out the movie was universally hated. Do I have any movies that are universally hated that I really appreciate? No, I guess not. I'm not a movie fan. I'm an anime fan. I'm a K-pop fan, but not a movie fan, except for Avengers, of course. It's really good. And because it came out from comics, right? They didn't think of it originally. It came out from comics, they just transformed it into a movie. So, still not technically a movie for me. I checked the reviews to see what people disliked, started looking through them. False expectations, misunderstanding, ignorance, presenting. So, I guess this is what the cause of that argument, right? So, this person wasn't. Yeah, I guess this is the root cause of it. They were aggressively ignorant and spiteful. I was so outraged that when I went ahead and wrote a comment in an expressive manner explaining why they're wrong, I was only, but it actually helped. I had more time to think, maybe I should practice that, maybe typing with one hand to prevent us from being toxic. But why people in Dota are still so toxic, even though they use one hand for the mouse and one hand for the keyboard, they can still type so fast when they're cursing you, when they're being toxic. They replied quickly. Obviously, they didn't want to agree. I spent the next several hours arguing online, and it was great. There was nothing in my world aside from me, my argument, and my opponent. One or two people who also commented on the review and apparently were subscribed to comments joined in. I was finally passionate about something and no longer wanted to die. Of course, it meant that I was arguing with strangers online, an act that I would deem pathetic not too long ago. But I didn't have much choice anymore. The next day, I created several throwaway accounts, set up a VPN, and dived into this stressful flow. If you guys don't know what a VPN is, it basically allows you to connect to a server located somewhere else in the world, and that means that whenever somebody tries to check where you're from, they're gonna see that you're actually from that location, from that server that you're connecting to. So it means that this guy doesn't want to be found out. That's why you also add throwaway account setup. That means whenever something happens, he can just delete the account. It's not really a personal account or something like that. It was fun, since the people who participate in such things are quite peculiar. Sometimes I got almost scientifically interested in their reasoning, and possibly diagnosing their mental illness? Really? Out of arguing the internet, you're thinking that they have mental illness? I don't think that's right. There were people like me too, restless, almost always online. That's not me, I promise you. I met some of them in different places around the net. Eventually, I formed some vague semblance of friendship with some of them. Then one day, way after midnight, one of them made an offer. Would you be interested? I can't read this, you know. I can't be so serious with what I'm reading. Now, let me try again. Would you be interested in leaving your mortal body and transcending onto the net? I guess that's not how they sound, but I made a pretty vague example. Considering, look, you're looking at a black guy, so I didn't mean that way. I meant you're looking at a person whose outline is black, the shading is black. I didn't mean it in any other case. I just said what came to my mind, and this is why I should be careful of what I'm saying. Anyway, let's continue on to the story. It sounded like some cult nonsense, but sure, I'll bite. Ah, this is why you don't bite, okay? You swallow it whole. I'm talking about spaghettis. My pride was long gone, and I was curious. I wanted to know more. It definitely felt like cultist ramblings. Some mighty interdimensional beings exist in our world, but only in digital form. It's like their projections of themselves into our world from theirs, or shadows, or distorted copies. They feed on human emotions. These beings want to consume the strong feelings poured into the net, so the cultist people who were digitized by these creatures help them find newcomers, people who pour a lot of emotion into the internet. In exchange for producing food for them 24/7, they gain immortality and the power to control many things on the net. Wow, that sounds so fun, you know? This sentence, so let's just go back. People who pour a lot of emotions into the internet. I'm guessing like 50% of those are fake. 25% of those might be real, but it only lasts a few days. And then 25%, I guess, are the ones who are really sulking. Like, they have nothing else to do. Or maybe a smaller portion of that. I'm not really giving a clear detail or where I'm getting that information from, like the numbers. I just, you know, wanted to say something about it to make my sound. Okay, this part of the stuttering is really getting me. To make myself look smart on camera, you know? However, the elusive homeworld of these beings is still out of reach, even for their followers. Not even a glimpse for humans. It sounded like nonsense, but for some reason I was ready to believe it. The story reminded me of an incident that occurred when I worked at private. A girl who worked there as a teacher was sitting on the stairs, seemingly distressed. She was mumbling something about digital people trying to win her and so on. When I asked what happened, she said she was fired because of her ex joining some sort of cult. I thought she was high or something. She looked like someone who would do that. People are so judgmental these days, you know? Purple hair, torn jeans, you know. So I said something encouraging and walked away. She didn't care, but when I heard about a cult, things started to make sense. At least, I understood how far it reached. When I asked, so what do I need to do? The answer was quite peculiar. You need to get rid of your mortal body. That's impossible. 2, that's really impossible. Like, it's impossible. Impossible, really. It says here, click here now. I just saw this right now. Oh, there's nothing? I thought we had those kind of. Thing is, when we click, it skips the text, so we had to read before clicking. Oh, what did he say? Oh, okay. Wait. You need to get rid of your mortal body. I read that. Okay, we'll read that one. We can send you a SIM card to speed up the process. I have a SIM card right here, and it doesn't speed up the process, you know? Oh, and you guys know SIM cards are being hacked. It's been running for over 2 years. I hope Etisalat gets the fix for that. It receives data from the stations controlled by us, and this type of data makes the transition faster. What? I can't connect the SIM card to my body, so how is that even possible? Oh, sorry, I moved the mic. Your mortal body will partly dissolve during the process. When ascension is complete, your what? Corpse will remain in this world. I was hesitant, but curious indeed. Remember that story with my colleague? What was that? Nothing. More intriguing. I was willing to check it out. Okay, I'm in. Can you deliver the SIM to my house discreetly? I'll arrange something. Just give me your address and date. I don't know why I'm lowering my voice just to read for this guy. I provided my address and set delivery for a week later, which you should never do when dealing stuff online. You should never give out your address to anyone. Seriously, don't. Especially to a random person you just met online. No. I'm still ashamed, and I shared such yeah, see? Even he was ashamed. I was consenting to anything that could happen, but I forgot my wife. You have a wife and you forgot? You just barge in and bad things would happen. I panicked at first trying to edit or delete this message, but I forgot things don't disappear from the net so easily. Yes, that's true, so be careful posting stuff online. There was no edit button. Delete the message will erase it from my history, but not theirs. True. It was the first time I truly panicked since the accident. Strangely enough, my limited ability to move or act hastily helped me calm down rather easily. I thought my limitation would fuel my panic, but no. Maybe I was getting used to it. I persuaded a friend of mine in another country to call my wife away to some kind of important art event for a few weeks. He was a pretty big deal in the art world. It was difficult, but I managed to persuade her to leave me here. I had to agree to have a caretaker. What? Caretaker. She insisted should be a man too. I like yes. I like it when girls are jealous. Sucks that I don't have a girlfriend yet. The caretaker was rather nice. He looked like he could fight in a possible home invasion, or at least I hope he could. So my wife packed her things and left. Nothing particular happened until the package arrived at the promised time. I told the keeper that I ordered some stuff for my phone. He didn't ask any questions. Oh, so this is the same thing that we received as the girl back last episode. When he left the room, I unpacked it. Strangely enough, it was packed in a way that I could easily open it. I didn't tell them anything about my condition. In the small box was an envelope reading, believe in me net. I installed a SIM card on my phone. They promised the ascension would pass without any struggle. I don't know what they meant or what I expected, but it was strange. The mobile networks now said eFood net, but at first nothing changed. Even my body, I felt nothing, both physically and mentally. But of course, I was freaked out at first, seeing my lines. Ooh. There's actually lines in the body. I don't see it though. I only see it from drawings and digital artwork. Even in movies, I don't see the lines in the body. But people say we do have a line in the body. I think that's what they mean. But I soon found myself worrying more about how I'd hide from the caretaker. Should I hide in my room, faking a depressive episode? Should I give him sleeping pills? Ask those guys to lure him away? Fake an accident with someone in his family? I decided to task those cultists with luring him away, and I calmed down completely. Yeah. The fact that I was so indifferent actually bothered me. It was the out of the ordinary experience I always dreamt of, and yet until this day I wondered maybe I died from that car crash. Oh, true. You could have died from an vision of the afterlife. Maybe you, to whom I don't even exist. I guess I'll never know. What? Wait. Did he know that he is a story? Yeah, it says here, maybe you, to who I tell the stories, don't even exist. Do I exist? Do you exist? You'll never know. I guess I'll never know. We got a caretaker to leave due to some family circumstance. Honestly, I didn't want to know what they arranged. In 2 days, my body just and my vision became blurry, like a dark fog appeared thicker and thicker, and eventually it covered my eyes. The last thing I saw was a computer screen through the fog. What a beautiful farewell to the mortal world. The new world was not what I was expecting. The sound changed as well. I retained my consciousness, memories, and personality seemingly without any changes, but I was data now, and I could only perceive other data and traverse from server to server. See? Server to server. At first I was in awe. Everything they told me was true. I deployed my weak, almost unconscious human body and became something more powerful. Ascended to a realm where powerful beings dwell among the undying flow of information. I could perceive data faster than any human, finally free, able to travel as fast as electricity. Strange of unusual things for me to investigate. Floating in the endless ocean of data, sometimes I felt them passing by in the same server as me. A strong, weary presence. To this day, I don't know how I could feel a presence in the digital world. I was just a bunch of numbers, and yet I could. Maybe it's because of my soul. Maybe a soul can be digitized too. Maybe it's the immortality of the soul we were promised by the ancient prophets. But data can be deleted. Does that mean that both souls and gods can be destroyed then? Actually, feeling the presence wasn't only the proof of my soul being here that I got my first day of my new life. Soon after a bit of getting used to this world, I started stalking my wife. That's eerie. Don't do that. All those powers, all those mysteries, and I was just following her life, reading all her messages and posts, watching all the cameras that spotted her, on her laptop, on her phone, on the street, in cafes, in dressing rooms, and you sicko. Yeah, those places have more cameras than you'd think. Actually, that's true. The things I learned, I didn't like them. She tried to sue that poor guy, the caretaker, but to no avail. My body was obviously exhausted. I'd been really skinny for the past few months because of medication and stress. Why would someone message me? This is not even a horror story. Alright, sorry about that. Police didn't find anything suspicious about my death. Of course. You were like 10, you were not able to move. You were gonna die eventually. Everyone's gonna die eventually. There's some person who should have died a long time ago. Yeah, when finally left this world. I even read such message in her history. I certainly couldn't argue with that. I watched her go through all the stages, watch her ditch work and social relations, trying to commit suicide and spending most of her remaining money on therapists and medication. Trying to get back to work, but mostly failing. I wanted to stay away, trying not to get involved. It was not my world anymore. But at some point, the growing, howling mass inside my soul became so big that I had to act. I added several sizable sums to her account, masked as compensation for the old troublesome projects I remembered, and sent the word sorry from my new virtual account. After that, I decided to leave everything for the gods. I wanted to understand at least some small part of them, to know why they evoke such deep feeling in me, such awe and fear at the same time. Why are they so powerful? Why did they share the power to me? Is it only to give them food? Or is it something more? I started by asking around. Most people here were busy with the same stuff they did online while they were still alive. Consuming media, arguing about it, spying on the lives of others, stuff like that for the most part. But then I saw something that I couldn't understand at first. I saw one person's data dissolving, being erased along with many others on the server. Most of them same part of the server as dissolving data. I found the person idling in another part of the server and I asked them what's happening. They're devouring them. It's happening more and more frequently now. What does that mean? They collectively devoured data of people that did something against the cult, like merging their data together. Usually they send the remains to a remote server and format it afterwards. Probably takes so long because it's not a power they could extract from the source, unlike controlling the net. You're new here? Everything we have is because of some guy who managed to find those beings on the internet, copy their code, and partly reverse engineer it. He digitized himself with a new power and started inviting other people to join him. Wait a minute, so you're saying those interdimensional beings have no part in the ascension? Pretty much. They just exist here and wander these lands. The guy found out that they grow on servers where people argue emotionally. They like that. They tend to gravitate to such places. I don't know though how we went from that to this cult thing we have now. They don't ask for anything, they just don't communicate with us at all or interact in other way. That's disappointing. How do you know so much anyway? No, I've been here for long, possibly over 20 years. Some parts of my memory are corrupted or formatted. Then you could be the source guy. I could, yes, but I'm more interested in the other facts about me. What could be more interesting than discovering you created this society? Looks like part of my memory were deleted by me. That's possible? Yeah, you can alter your own code. It's easy. How? Tell me! I want to know! Never thought of that. You're considering deleting your memories? Yes. Then could you answer me one question? Sure. What makes you want to delete your memory? I was short-sighted. My egotism led to suffering of another person dear to me. I could have stopped, but I went all the way. I want to forget what I've done and all the happy memories I've made with her. I see guilt. Quite understand. Of course. Thanks. We remain there, watching the data being consumed for a while longer. After some time, the person asks, so will you do it? Do what? Delete your memory. Oh, I already deleted it. What? Probably not. Why? Remembering is fun. Yeah, that's true. Okay? You don't have to cut off the past. You have to remember the past in order for you to grow. That's the thing. Why we experience a lot of stuff. For us to learn about it, for us to move on, and then grow according to what happened to us. Right? Life lessons here being taught to you guys. I see. Don't be hard on yourself. I didn't answer. Thanks for speaking with me. It was rather enlightening. No problem. You helped me too. Glad to know. Maybe we'll meet again. See you. I finally left the server. It was an important moment for me. I clung to the idea of understanding those creatures. I guess we're back to the place of the lady, right? Yeah, I guess so. And saw gods. I should stick to my own research. It was during my career, but things didn't work out. I managed to copy and paste parts of their code. I got that far, however, I couldn't do anything with it. I approached it, I don't know where to start. It was gibberish to me. I tried inserting the code into my own, to no avail, nothing. It had changed who I am. I was now useless at investigating anything, even though that earned me some fame in the human world. The feeling of desperation would eventually lead me to my self-destruction. One day I followed one of the gods. At some point I realized the server was empty. It was only that being in myself and Enrique was my how to mount. I set a timer to disconnect the server from the internet, format it, then reconnect. I left the server just before the timer went off, with the being still there. When I came back, the server was empty. I left just before the timer and was somewhere in the central part of the server. They couldn't leave as far as I knew. I killed a god. No one with power or anything, there was only disappointment. After that, I started to wander the net, picking up on the stories that unfolded around me. There were a lot of them. The cultists spent most of the time trolling random people and reporting me. In most cases, they forgot about their previous targets and moved on, just like the person that invited me. They forgot about me the moment I joined them. I started to close in on the next person. Wow. That fast? But one day I noticed a cultist that hadn't changed his prime target for a long time. Oh, sorry, someone's messaging me. He was seemingly torturing and stalking a girl that once dated one of the oh, this is the girl, okay. It was rather easy. Things rarely disappear from the internet, if ever. The one with purple hair. Fun fact, her ex refused to SIM card because he wanted to experience the ascension. Oh, he could. Oh, so that's what happened to the ex-boyfriend. He experienced the ascension as long as possible. That's why he had a SIM with him, I guess. Forgot about her and hadn't even followed the story of her being hunted. Since I spoke with her near the school, things had run quite rough for her. She tried abandoning the internet, but it didn't work out. She tried sometimes just to mess with her. He actually let that happen. She tried not leaving her apartment. After some time though, she managed to save up she already practicing walking in places where street cameras wouldn't see her. Not only street cameras, but possibly drones or satellite cameras. Street and canopy. When she decided everything was ready, she started her plan. The girl went to an internet cafe. The most school was playing on the internet. She found a cabin in the woods, remote location, and arranged a meeting about the rent. Using a fake name, obviously. Buying a used car was easy too. Getting a gun was a bit harder, but she had connections. The seller didn't care. I like the story of this game, you know? On a car and a gun. She turned on her phone, left it playing music, and gathered her belongings in a sport bag. In 4 hours, she arrived at her new home. It worked for a while. You probably guessed that since I know all this, her plan. It's your fault, okay? You followed her. The guy did some extensive digging, and once he knew to look for, he traced her easily. A loud noise when she opened her eye. The noise repeated. Now closer, she stood up and grabbed the gun. She always kept it near her. It wouldn't help her again what was coming, but it would still come in handy. She was rattling on the floor, trying to fly up. She rushed to one of the inner rooms without windows and began stuffing cushion to her. Pouring on the ground once. At the same time, a bulldozer demolished the entire building, but he had put demolished. She ran through the forest, followed by the sound of drones buzzing toward the road. That's right, back to side. Not exactly the best outfit for it, but what choice did she have? I suppose she didn't have time to think about any other dangers. But I did. There were only other 2 people on the server, but he was too absorbed in his game to notice anything. I learned he was sending some drivers after her, with histories, let's say. That's when I decided I had enough of observing. I persuaded the other 2 cultists to leave the server under false pretenses. I set the timer. She was covered in bruises, her leg was tied. The buzzing drew closer and closer. The road was still far away. She tripped on an old tree and fell. Her whole life must have flashed before her eyes. I don't know for sure. I can't read minds. She lay there for a few seconds before turning on her back. She drew her gun and aimed with shaking hands at the nearing drones. The girl started firing. The recoil hurt. I thought I was gonna read it perfectly, you know? The recoil hit way harder than she expected, but one of the drones was down. There were still several dozens left. God, how many bullets do you have? I have 12. How many drones there are? Several dozens. That's not gonna do anything. Unless, you know, you curve your bullet like, what's that movie? Salt, I think? Or Wanted. Salt or Wanted. Where the bullet is curved. You know? If you could do that, you know, you could kill many drones with just one bullet. Yeah, she missed everything. Luck was on her side, was it? She tried getting up and running, but had no energy left. She sat there watching those things, and then they stopped. One of them was several inches away from her. She waited. They didn't move. She sat there for about a minute. One of them fell down with lights out, battling up her thighs. She got up to stand, watching the buzzing swarm of drones. Some of them had needles and shaking. What? I'm going back. She flipped off the drones and walked away in the direction of the cabin remained. What's happening? What? Maybe that's when it comes to these things. Alright, it's over?
I knew you would wait.
I knew it!
I guess I'm happy that you stayed for so long. Don't know for sure though. Yeah, I'm the one who told you these stories. Both of them. I just couldn't bring myself to communicate online.
So this is, I think, the guy who, you know,
or even follow what's going on. So I decided to get creative. Make games, write stories, and upload them to random sites. It's the same as arguing online, after all.
Just a bunch of emotions spilled into the nothingness.
In the hopes that someone will understand.
I'm creeped out by this, by the way.
And find the record of your thoughts and emotions on the garbage pile.
Where nothing ever disappears.
I'm scared.
There's no death on the internet. That's where I made a mistake. I was still thinking in terms of a human world, not a digital one. So the guy whom I thought I killed returned. I couldn't kill even him. Yet I thought I was mighty enough to kill a god. Everyone leaves a digital trace. Caches, messages, forum posts, histories of visits, so on and so forth.
This is all so true, so you better listen.
After a while, they start to gravitate towards each other. Like molecules, producing a distorted copy of the individual. Is this what they meant by all this immortal soul stuff? Anyways, he regained parts of his memories, told the cultist what happened, and they weren't happy. Can you really replicate a person by their data? Honestly, though, I don't even know who I was.
What happened to him?
The only thing that kinda comforts me is the thought that maybe, since now I'm the enemy for them, she'll be able to live a functional life once again, just like my wife, hopefully. There's one other thing that hits
I don't
silly.
like where this is going.
Maybe when I become a distorted copy of myself, I'll find forgotten, useless shards of who I was, and understand something that I couldn't understand about myself before.
Just like you.
Just like me. Oh, that's creepy. What? You can choose? Coffin, clock, streetlight, attic. What does it mean though? Is it over? Don't think it's over, but yeah, it's not letting us do anything.
Just like
Oops.
one.
So I guess that's it. That's the end of that. Anyways, that was pretty interesting. It's a long episode, but I enjoyed every single part of it. You know, he was actually giving out lessons. If you guys didn't follow through that, he's actually telling about the dangers of having an online presence. Like, everything we do in the internet doesn't disappear. It all gets stored somewhere. And oh, what happened? It closed itself. So yeah, as I was saying, the presence is always there. It will never disappear, and we'll never know what will happen to the things that we do online. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe, comment. It's good for the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Peace out.